Yes.
But like the comparison, like with me and some of the other guys.
So that'd be something neat to see, the Harrisburg Senators.
The Pirates playing in Williams.
Welcome to the Non-Resource Podcast, episode 27, the home of sports talk for everyone. I'm David.
I'm Jason.
Welcome aboard. Now, today marks 1 year. 1 year of us doing this.
Yeah.
How
Yeah, 1 year.
So
It's gone by pretty quick.
very quick. Very quick.
So let's touch on something here that's happened in that 1 week or that 1 year this week. We got to talk at the Harrisburg Senators Fan Club monthly meeting.
Yeah, that was a big thing because that's something I know I've never done that. I've never been offered to do so. So a big thank you, shout out, big thank you to Brian and Matt.
Yeah, I'm pretty, honored that they thought of us, had us come talk. And the fan club was really receptive to us. We got them to laugh at some of our stories, and it was just a good time all around. And yeah, thank you very much, Brian and Matt, for thinking of us and asking us to talk and hang out with everyone.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting experience. Like I said, it's been ages since I stood up and talked in front of people.
It's been a little over 2 years since I did it, so.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a lot longer for me. But I just want a big shout out and a big thank you to Matt and Brian.
Yep, thank you very much, and thank you to everyone who's stuck with us for the last year.
Yes, thank you, big time for that. All right, welcome to the first period. This first period would be talking about bobbleheads. Now we have John with us today talking about bobbleheads because he's a collector. John, how did you get started in this?
When it comes to bobbleheads, I got started a couple years back. The Harrisburg Senators, I know you guys are a little bit familiar with them. They
Just
were a Juan Solo Soto bobblehead on May the 4th. And when I went to the game, got the bobblehead, yeah, this is cool. As I'm at the game, a guy tries to buy the bobblehead off of me. Of course, I'm like, no, this is too cool for that. Then I decide to get into the bobbleheads, get on eBay, buy a couple from somebody local. And I'm like, well, I'll save on shipping. Met that guy, ended up being the same guy that tried to buy it off of me at the game. Now he's one of my better friends. His name's Zach Kirby. He's pretty big in the community as well.
Wow, the mute is wow, it's rough. How'd that feel?
We're having technical difficulties left and right tonight.
It's called tech support. So what was it like when you met him and realized who he was then?
It was kind of it was funny. I mean, you're just kind of like, hey, didn't you just try to buy this off of me? And then what's really weird is then we went to his basement to see his dungeon full of bobbleheads.
The dungeon.
It was like a dungeon. Just imagine going into a 1,000 square foot basement and there's boxes everywhere.
Wow.
Now, how
That's
many do you
crazy.
have in your collection?
In my collection, I have between 200 and 300.
Okay.
That's a nice size collection.
That's really kind of a small collection. There's a lot of guys out there that range up to 800 to 1,000, some even as much as 2,000.
Can we call that an addiction?
It's like a drug. You just kind of let it take hold of you and just ride it out.
I bet it could be a very expensive collection.
Can be very expensive, especially when you start searching for those grails.
I can only imagine some of the costs of the rare ones.
When it comes to rare bobbleheads, like personally, I have one in my collection that's just kind of near and dear to my heart in a sense. It's called the Vlad Gorilla. It's actually Vladimir Guerrero when he was back with the Senators, but it's a bobblehead that was actually never given away. It was supposed to be a stadium giveaway back in the early 2000s, and the day of the giveaway, one of the greatest of all time, Frank Robinson, wrote a letter to the Senators asking them not to do the giveaway just because the bobblehead it's kind of offensive.
Justifiably so. I saw the bobblehead.
Well, the Senators obliged, and I know I've spoke with a couple people that they personally destroyed 2 to 3 skids of these bobbleheads. And somehow some got out there. I know of 5 that exist. I have one of the 5 that I know that's there. And I've been told there could be as many as 12 to 18 of them out there. But it's one of the very, it's the rarest when it comes to the Senators. Probably when it comes to the Washington Nationals organization, it may be the hardest to come across. Next to that would be called the Jumping Worth, is what it is. And some people refer to it as the abolished Worth. Jason Worth, after he hit the walk-off, jumped at home plate, was all excited. Well, the Nats made a bobblehead based on that. And with that bobblehead, when it came out, some of the other players on the team made fun of Jason Worth and his facial features and the way he looked. Well, Worth threw a fit about it, and the Nats destroyed the bobbleheads. Other than 2 to 3 cases just happened to walk out somehow, and they're out lurking around. That bobblehead can go as much as I've seen it go as much as $1,200.
What's the highest bobblehead you've seen?
The highest I've seen. The Louisville Bats that I can think of off the top of my head, the Louisville Bats minor league organization, done a Ham Porter Sandlot. And that Ham Porter at that game, they were giving out, I believe it was tickets inside of the boxes or tickets somewhere throughout the game. And there was 4 tickets that exist. And it was 4 tickets for 4 Ham Porter Gold bobbleheads. I seen that bobblehead go up on the B.A.R page, and I think I feel like it went for $4,000. It could have been a little bit less than that, but I know I've seen a couple go up close to that.
Good Lord,
yeah.
But there's only 4 of them that exist.
$4,000 for a bobblehead. Jeez. Yeah, I guarantee you, if I told my wife, "Hey, look at this bobblehead," and she finds out how much I paid for it, that's going to go towards my funeral costs.
Well, those conversations, when you start having those when it comes to bobbleheads, you tend to, as accountants say, sprinkle the fairy dust around on the numbers and change them a little bit here and there and make it sound better than what it actually is.
So I'm going to quick share. I have a few bobbleheads. Most of them are at my desk at work that I have not seen in the last year because I'm working from home. So when I started my current position where I work, it was the same day as Chase Utley's retirement ceremony for the Phils. And I had a friend say, "Hey, do you want to come with me to this game?" I said, "I'd love to, but I just started this position. I shouldn't take off this day, even though I have the time. I shouldn't." Right. So the next day I went on eBay looking at the bobblehead, and a pawn shop was selling one for $5. Everyone else was selling it for like $25 to $50. This pawn shop had it for $5, free shipping. I jumped on that.
You're always looking for those deals, man. I've gotten a couple bobbleheads over the years that you just constantly get. I get constant updates from eBay. And just those rare ones, the ones that don't pop up very often. Anytime they pop up, even if I have them, I buy them.
Yeah, the one bobblehead. Go ahead, John.
I know that there's people out there looking for them. And I don't care as much about making money off them, especially if I get a good deal on it. I'll just trade it for something and get something a little bit different. But those ones that are hard to find, if they pop up, you got to grab them when they're there.
Oh, you have to. I think one of the bobbleheads that I have that I really like is one of the gritty bobbleheads that are out there. This one was from when he went streaking at the Stadium Series, and of course, gritty. But what's funny is though, a friend of mine, we got tickets. He offered me to go with him to one of the Flyers game, 5 rows off the ice. I'm going to say no.
Gotta take it.
Yeah, especially when they're free tickets. Yes. And I just go into, I always like to go into the shop just to see what they have there. And I saw they were getting rid of these. They were selling them for, I forget what percentage off. I know I got them for 15. And I think they said they would if I wanted to buy them when they first came out, I think they said they were going like 60 or 70. And I got them for like 15 a piece. Mm-hmm. And I texted my brother. He wasn't answering. I'm like, he probably wants one, but I just want to make sure. I finally got a hold of him. He's like, yes, get me 2. Well, one for him and one for his son. And funny enough, I got the last 3 from that shop right there.
Nice.
So I got lucky on that one because they were actually just pulling them from the boxes right behind because they had the whole back line that's what they had for that shop. Yeah. So I got lucky on that one.
So for my birthday this past year, my wife got me a Mike Schmidt Reading Phillies bobblehead from 2016. Even though I'm not like a big bobblehead collector, she knows my love of the Phils, and she knows Mike Schmidt's one of my all-time favorite Phillies. Is the guy I got into as a young child as a Phillies fan. And she's like, I don't know if this is something you'd like, but here. And I'm like, oh my God, this is really cool. No mustache, for the record, on this bobblehead, because he did not have one when he played in Reading.
Interesting.
I didn't even know. I thought he was born with a mustache, to be honest with you.
Dude, there's people who thought I was born with a beard, so. That was a bet between my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, when we had Gianna, was she coming out with facial hair?
I'd be worried if she did. I'd be worried. That's crazy. Now, I know with bobbleheads, just by doing some research on it, it's just shocking that they have a Bobblehead Hall of Fame and Museum in, I think it's Milwaukee.
Yep, the Hall of Fame is based out of Milwaukee. They do have a lot in the Hall of Fame, but they're more known for what they do retail-wise. They sell a lot of bobbleheads and their own custom designs that they do. 2020 was a big year for them. They've done a lot of political bobbleheads. They've done 2 to 3 different Dr. Fauci bobbleheads. They've done the Bernie Sanders, of course, crossed arms with the mask on. One of my personal favorite bobbleheads of the year, just because it's just, I don't know, it's comical.
It was a great meme.
It was a great meme.
It was everywhere.
It still is.
Yeah, that is true. That still is. But yeah, just looking through some of the ones they have on their website here, and the detail on these are just great.
When it comes down to it, man, the detail with retail it's top notch. You're not going to beat retail detail when it comes to bobbleheads, because there's less of them made. It's not like your SGA when we go to a game. Like we went to a Senators game. That was the Aaron Barrett game, is where I met you guys at.
Yes.
Yeah.
That bobblehead was actually really good. I actually sent a intoxicated email to the Harrisburg Senators when those bobbleheads when that list came out, trashing the Aaron Barrett.
Oh, jeez.
I sent this email, and then when I seen it in person, I was like, wow, you're an asshole, man.
I remember you talking about that at the game. So for those of you listening, we've mentioned Jonathan a few times in passing on the show. We met him at a game because David's uncle is a bobblehead collector and knows Jonathan.
Yeah, much. And of course, though, what's funny is though, I'm bringing my nephews to the game. My nephew's going to be there. No, we're not kids.
I thought 100%. I'm like, oh, Ambrose is bringing the kids to the game. It looks like I'm drinking by myself. And then you
Nope.
guys go, I'm like, well, looks like we're going to have fun today.
It was fun.
Hey,
It was hot, but it was fun.
It was very hot. It was very hot.
It was a game for a rough Monday.
I just find it interesting how the website has, how the Bobblehead Hall of Fame has 3-foot bobbleheads.
3-foot bobbleheads are one of those things like I've seen a couple times. Corona done some advertisements with John Gruden, and there is a 3-foot John Gruden literally 3 miles from my house at a pawn shop that I've contemplated buying, but they just want too much for it.
Now, how much are they asking for it? Because on here, the average price I've been seeing is $850.
If you buy a 3-footer new, you're going to pay $800 to $1,000. If you buy it secondary market, I've seen this John Gruden go for $200. This pawn shop wants $500 for it. So that's just I can't pay $500 for a John Gruden Corona Extra bobblehead. I just can't justify that to the wife. She's not going to appreciate that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, looking on here, they have a couple of gritty ones that are just different types.
Gritty is Philly didn't do a lot of things right, but they definitely killed it with a couple of their mascots.
Well, what's funny is everybody hated Gritty at first. Like nobody really liked him until somebody on social media started bashing him, and then Philly just rallied behind him, and that was it. That just started the whole trend from there.
And going back to the meme thing, Gritty's become like a meme.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I still love the shirt of him and the Fanatic in the I think it's the Pulp Fiction shirt.
Yes. Harper wore that.
Yes. I was trying to picture my head here on I've seen it, but I couldn't remember it. And I remember Harper was wearing it. Yeah.
Gritty and the Fanatic are two of probably the top mascots in all of sports. When it comes to collecting, they're huge. Like the Fanatic, I've seen there's a bobblehead of the Fanatic carrying the 2008 banner.
Okay, yeah.
That sells for upwards to $300 to $500.
Oh wow.
The Fanatic is a very valuable bobblehead. A lot of his bobbleheads or its bobbleheads. I don't know what the Fanatic is. The Fanatic bobbleheads go for a lot of money.
Well, I mean, he supersedes the team almost. He's universal compared to the team.
And everybody's still going to root for Fanatic even when the team's not doing so well.
Well, it's just his antics. That's what makes it. That's what makes it the best. I mean, just watching Fanatic at games, watching Gritty at games. The one game that I went to, he stole one of the fans had. They were for the opposing team, and he was pretending to give it back to him. Just chucks it like a few aisles up, or not the aisles, but sections up. I mean, he tossed it. It's like, oh, that's funny. But he just walked around and started messing around with people, and it's like, that's pretty funny. You just got to laugh.
See, that's why I can't go to Philly for sports games right there.
Phillies fans aren't. If you were going to an Eagles game in your Titans gear, that's one thing. I've gone to Phillies games, seen people in other teams' gear, and no one really cares.
I think that's just the Eagles fans, and you guys may be Eagles fans. I'm not sure. They're a different. I don't know. Sundays come around. You start throwing on that. I don't even know what it is, hunter green or whatever the hell their color is.
I think their current color is midnight green.
Midnight green. You throw on the midnight green. You go to a game, and you're just like, I'm going to argue with a fan of the opposite team. It does not matter.
Well, I think what happens is that a lot of opposing fans try to do is talk trash. And when it comes to Philly fans talking trash back, it gets a bit what's the word I'm looking for?
Hated is the nicest way to put it.
Yeah, that is the nicest way to put it. Yeah, it is the nicest way to say it. Just because of everything that can happen.
People like that, though, that's just done by them. I remember because I'm a big West Virginia Mountaineer fan. Back in the day, they had a series for like 4 years where they played LSU. And so LSU had to come to Morgantown twice. WVU had to go down there twice. Well, the last time LSU came up here, you had LSU fans that were trying to talk trash in the parking lot to some West Virginia fans after LSU just smoked them. And somebody ended up throwing a big rock through the windshield of the van, and 2 or 3 people got beat up. And I'm like, this type of stuff happens in Philly, but it definitely just happened in Morgantown.
Okay, I need to jump in here quick and defend Philly fans. Philly fans get a bad rep, but Dodgers fans have stabbed people over wearing Giant stuff to games. Let's not.
Yeah.
Dodgers fans are the worst. Dodgers fans are the worst, but Philly is like they're right on their tail. Maybe not. I won't say Philly specifically. When I say Philly, I mean Philadelphia. Philly, it doesn't matter if you're a Flyers, Eagles, Phillies, Union fan.
Union fans. There is a video online called the best of Philly sports fans. It's actually the worst of Philly sports fans. And Union fans like supersede Eagles fans big time.
Dude, that's because soccer fans are insane. I went to a Columbus Crew playoff game just for it was just a fun weekend kind of trip. The craziest sporting event I've ever been to. I mean, drinking 25-ounce pounders of Budweiser and ready to fight New York Red Bull fans, and I've never been to a soccer game in my life. Like, that's how these fans get you. So, yeah, I could totally – you might even put Union fans above Eagles fans. If soccer was more popular in the States, the Union would precede the Eagles.
No, I mean, we David and I watched the video. We can vouch. The Union fans were much worse than the Eagle fans in the video. Bringing it back to Bobbles. So what are some of the groups you participate in on Facebook with the Bobbles?
When it comes down to the Bobbles, man, you've got a few different groups that kind of hit. It depends on what you want. If you're a true collector, if you're all about the collection and letting it grow, a group like the Springnecks Mid-Atlantic Trading Post. It's a big name, but it's a small group of guys that are kind of local to all of us, and they're diehard collectors, man. They're not about really making money. They're about your collection growing, my collection growing. That's just what they do. If you're looking for anything Bobble related and you want something from over in California that you can't get on hand, but you want to get it a little bit cheaper than eBay, you go to the B.A.R. The B.A.R. kind of covers all categories. It's probably the biggest and most reliable bobblehead group on Facebook. Next to those two groups, I will say my top choice is Bull City Bobbles, which actually they're based out of North Carolina. Bull City Bobbles is ran by Deshaun Batista and a guy, Matt Campbell, who unfortunately is an Atlanta Braves fan, but he's a good guy, so I let that pass. Bull City Bobbles is ran by Deshaun and Matt. Deshaun is actually part of the Bobble Bros podcast, which is kind of like it's the top notch when it comes to Bobbleheads podcast. Those guys get in all of it. It's Deshaun, who is the Red Sox bro, his brother-in-law Will, who is Yankee bro, and their boy Paul from the West Coast, who is Giants bro. They're all three really good guys, and they love to talk trash.
Always fun. Yeah, it just seems like a lot of people don't realize how big the bobblehead community actually is. Like all these, not just different sites, but the community pages on Facebook and things like that, even eBay, on just how big this actually is. Because we didn't know about it till we went to a Hagerstown game, and this guy just pulls up offering people hats for their bobbleheads, and we're like, "Is this actually happening? Is this a bad deal or something, or what?"
I think he was playing The Stroke by Billy Squier in his car and came out sitting on the car like Billy Madison. I don't know.
Yeah, I was freaky because I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know it. Like I didn't know that there was this society,
Man,
of these collectors.
I did not know it was as crazy as what it is until I actually got into it. And then I still sometimes, like, people will ask me, like, what are my hobbies? And, it used to be basketball until I retired from that, and bobblehead collecting. And they're like, they kind of just, people give you a look, like, bobbleheads. And I'm like, yeah, I collect bobbleheads. And then they start going, well, how do you get these bobbleheads? And then I start to go on this rant for about 15 minutes about all the different avenues of bobbleheads. And they're like, that actually exists. I'm like, yes.
And the fact that you can go off like that, for 15 minutes explaining just all these different avenues, all these different directions you can go in just to get some.
Yeah. And I mean, it's all about how you want to approach it. A lot of guys will get into racking bobbleheads, which means I'm going to go to a game, I'm going to buy my ticket, I'm going to walk through the gate, and I'm going to have about $300 in $5 bills in my pocket. And as people walk through the gate, I'm going to ask them, you want to sell your bobblehead for $5? It will blow your mind how many people say yes.
Well, I think people just don't care about the bobblehead. They just want to be at the game, so they don't care about the bobblehead. But if you can get it for that price and then, do trades or throughout.
And a lot of people will either, if I do it, which I'm just not that personality. If I do it, I'm doing it really to get a couple extras to trade. I know people that do it and make $10,000 to $15,000 extra a year.
Jeez.
Just selling bobbleheads.
Good Lord.
Wow, that's crazy.
There's a lot of footwork that goes into that, but at the end of the day, when you punch the numbers in, it literally that's your difference. Is you're spending spend 15 grand, and if you spend $15,000, you might make 30 on top of that. There are guys out there that are literally making a living.
That's insane.
But those guys don't tend to focus solely on bobbleheads. They do a little bit of everything.
It was still just to have that just in bobbleheads alone at times is ridiculous. That you can actually do that.
The guys that are really into that, it sounds just like a stress. Like, we all have jobs. They're like, my job can be stressful at times, but to me, these guys that I've talked to that do this for a living, the stress level is unreal. Because literally you're paying your bills every day just by flipping bobbleheads and flipping giveaways.
It's a constant hustle.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And and that's why I can't, like, there's a lot of guys in the bobblehead community that don't like those type of guys. I don't mind them for the simple fact that they're putting a lot of work in to do that. So, like, I admire the hustle, I guess you would say.
No, that makes sense.
I was just like flipping houses. I mean, except you're doing something that people actually consider would be toys, but that's what some people consider these, but it's actually a huge collectible world that is, a lot of people don't have that.
Right.
So it's amazing just how big this is.
Oh man, and it's growing every day. It's getting bigger. COVID, it got huge over COVID. Group Bobbles became a big thing, which is just each group was contacting companies about designing and making their own bobbleheads. They became very, very big.
I I can only imagine, just because what else do people have to do?
That's what it was. There was no giveaways. There was no games to go to, no giveaways. So people were doing group bobbles, and a lot of people they bought into the group bobbleheads, and now they're still making them. Me personally, I'm just not about that. I'm just about the teams, honestly. Like,
Hey,
the groups are cool for the community aspect of it, but the group bobbles, other than Springy's the best one, which is the Mid-Atlantic, ran by Matt and Ryan. That's the best group bobble out there, bar none. And I'll say that until something else comes out that's better.
well, there's definitely been educational on that one, just because, you know, not a lot of people know how deep the rabbit hole goes with this. You know, and the fact that it can just go very, very deep is mind blowing. So, but yeah, that's, like I said, it's just bobbleheads are a big thing anymore, and the big community, a lot of different things. Hopefully we can get some of these links that we can post on our Facebook page, and then this way other people can see different avenues to go in if they want to start collecting. And
100%. I mean, and it all comes down to how you want to collect. If you want to be a diehard collector, reach out to those guys over at the Mid-Atlantic Trading Post. Matt Webb, I'm pretty sure he's the owner of Baltimore Graphics. Super, super cool guy. Will Talk Bobbles. He has the largest mascot collection that I know of. He has over 800 mascot bobbleheads.
that's crazy.
His good friend Ryan Facina runs that group with him. Next to that, the B.A.R, if you want to just kind of get anything around the country, you go to the B.A.R, hit those guys up. If you just want to meet some cool guys and talk bobbles and get some nice fitted hats from across the country, hit up the Bull City Boys.
So yeah, we'll definitely look at those put those links on the Facebook page. So on that note, that'd be the end of period 1. We'll be right back after a short break.